We're only selling to a few different types of businesses in 2026, and there's a big reason for that. Certain businesses simply have a much higher ability to spend, and they are more scalable than others. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the only 8 business types that we are selling to in 2026 within our agencies. Let's go through it. Now, if you are currently competing for space in the coaches and consultants industry or something like that, where there's just not a lot of people that are doing the particular business model that your agency serves, I implore you in this moment, take a look at the other industries that I'm going to be discussing here. Some of them you're going to be familiar with. Many of them I do believe that you've never thought of. Let's go through it first of all, foremost. Med spas and aesthetic clinics. What does this look like right now? At a whole, across the United States, the focus on personal wellness and the ability to look better is at an all-time high. There's just no question about it. Women are spending on enormous amounts of Botox, fillers, laser treatments, and guys are going way deep into the IV and peptide therapy types of treatments, okay? So the spend in these industries is absolutely continuing to rise, which means that these companies are also competing against each other for the same pool of customers. So that means an agency can come in, represent them in multiple areas, whether it's content, scaling, getting them more inbound traffic, and then they can actually earn a percentage of that pie. So we're going to walk through this a little bit because I'm going to explain why the med spas are such incredible clients, okay? We have agencies that all they do is fixate on med spas, even in just a small area, like Phoenix right behind me. They're only focusing on med spas in a particular area. And the reason why is because with that recurring treatment cycle, they're familiar with the revenue they're going to be making month to month, which means that they know what they can afford to pay you long term. It also means that they have predictable LTV that they can model against, right? It's not very hard for a med spa owner to see that they have the ability to pay you for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, when they know that they have a particular client base that's coming back. They also have a lot of visuals, okay? So content is generally not the problem that they have. It's typically knowing how to turn that content into repeat buyers. So things that we're selling them in 2026 include DM automations. We're selling them new types of back-end services like client relation portals or just agency systems overall. We're selling them new websites. We're even selling them funnels that they can use to create very specific offers for their audience. So there's a lot there. Now, most are owner operated. They'll pay between $2,000 and $5,000. We've actually been doing some contracts with them that are over $30,000. So you can definitely find really high paying clients in this niche. They typically have a desire to get types of reactivation, retargeting campaigns. If they can pull their old client base back into the store, that increases LTV of their customers and obviously brings them new cash flow. Another area that we've also been working on is actually working on getting the people within a med spa to also activate certain marketing services as independent contractors. A lot of them are independent contractors. And so what we'll do is we'll actually sell them like some type of marketing specifically for them. This includes activating automation on their Instagram or things of that nature. The next one that we're selling to a lot are home service companies. The reason for this is because in HVAC, roofing, plumbing, solar, these particular industries have an enormous amount of sales operations already in place. They're boring businesses. They're doing fuck tons of revenue in 2026, which means that they are flush with cash, but they still need the ability to get new leads. In a business, as we will discuss lots on this channel, there are always only 3 constraints in a business: fulfillment, conversion, or traffic. And that's in reverse order. If there's no traffic coming into a business, then there's no way for sales to occur. And if there's no sales, then there's no fulfillment. Working in reverse, if fulfillment is broken, but sales are occurring and there's people that want the particular service, customers fail to spend for a long time. These are where things break within a business. So there's a lot of opportunity within agencies to sell into one of those 3 breakpoints. Now, with home service companies, typically what they're looking for is something that can allow them to work through that seasonal demand. An example of this is in the landscaping industry, Snow removal is common in Colorado as a service that they need to buy during the winter, whereas gardening and mowing lawns, these are more common during the spring and summer seasons. So they've been burned by bad agencies. They're hungry for someone competent like yourself to step in and help them with that. And it's very easy to prove. If you can get them leads, if you can book them jobs, there's revenue. It's a very straight line. The services that we've got agencies pitching within our ecosystem right now are LSAs. These are going to be people running local service ads on Google, generally speaking, even running on YouTube as well at a targeted level. We also have some SEO, Google business profile stuff. What does that look like? There's some agencies that we know that are working within local media channels to actually purchase like those blog posts or review type posts that highlight a particular operator within a city. Another one is building systems. Some of the owners of these types of companies that we've encountered, they're a little bit less tech savvy than what we would find in maybe like a med spa type business. And so they need the ability to integrate systems at a very high level, and they will hire competent operators to get that done. They're also looking for the ability to target emergency keywords. Okay, I want you to hear me carefully here. When a plumbing emergency occurs, typically the immediacy of which somebody wants to resolve that is instant. Okay, they're sometimes even trying to search at like 2 a.m. to find somebody to come out and repair whatever has broken. Okay, so emergency plumbing service, emergency roofing inspection, these types of things are incredibly valuable because in those types of traffic generation sources, they are auctions, meaning that there are multiple companies typically within an area trying to compete for those keywords. Another one is just if you're very new to this and you're a younger guy, I would also recommend, can you do things that are physical types of marketing? This includes yard signs, blister signs, or even billboards that can help a company add new revenue and funnel systems. Okay. Now, number 3, this is another one that we're working on, is e-commerce brands. Now, particularly what we have found recently is we're working with a lot of female and women-owned brands. Okay, why we're doing this is they typically don't have the same introspection into like the paid ad space like a lot of guys do. Okay, so they're not really like watching, girls go and like break down paid ads at a very high level, right? They're a little bit more on the organic side. And so they typically have, a high desire to get very high level operators involved in their business. Okay. Now they do have a lot of capital available, okay, that they're wanting to put towards ads, but they don't know necessarily how. They have the ability to have clear attribution, which means that they can commit that you're the one that's getting them sales, and they believe in paid acquisition. So we are looking for those women-owned brands, and we are wanting to work with them to do those types of deals. Services that we're pitching them are Meta Ads, TikTok Shop. If you can do anything related to TikTok right now, there is still so much money on the table for you. TikTok Shop agencies are absolutely going to crush it and continue to crush it over the next decade. Now, retention type systems, is there a way that you can pull customers back? One of the best ways that we know an e-commerce store is doing really well with email marketing is when people are buying constantly from email marketing. So if you can build really sufficient email marketing systems for an e-commerce business, that is one of the most impactful ROI activities that you can do for them. And of course, if you can help them get influencers and creators, brand ambassadors, or UGC customers, UGC type creators to help them make content, that is also on the top of their mind. Okay. Now let's also go to number 4, which is SaaS companies. Okay, so they have typically a funding round available if they're a proficient SaaS company. They have a product, but they need to spend that cash on marketing. A lot of the time, these companies cannot get more venture capital unless they spend that entire budget. So they are looking for the way to get lots of growth visible to a particular audience of VC investors. Not always are they focused on ROI right now. A lot of the times, if they're going for VC rounds or even going for a YC Combinator type venture, they're just looking to show growth rate, right? So anything you can do to get more customers to download an app or install a particular product or just show usage of a particular product, you're looking at very high level contracts for a high demand type operator, okay? 5K to 15K we deem is very low for this particular niche. If we were to go in and start working with SaaS companies, we're pitching in the 6-figure range. Absolutely nothing below that. Now, what we're doing is LinkedIn ads, account-based marketing campaigns for the really easy, simple, agencies that are looking to fulfill some level of engagement. Content marketing, you can also do landing page design in these types of operations. Another thing that we're also seeing is people who can operate on platforms like AppLovin or similar platforms that allow people to get installs for applications. So if you're very proficient in how to get people iOS or app installs, that is also something that these companies are hiring for. Number 5 is real estate teams and brokerages. Last year, we did an enormous amount of revenue through agencies that would target directly at real estate teams and sell them Instagram automation. This involved us getting pretty much like a head or director of a real estate company incredibly bought into a particular product, typically over the span of 3 months. And then we got them to then infuse that into every single agent within their team and get the agents to actually buy their own packages of marketing. This is one of the most impactful types of agency offers that I'm going to give you. When we go into a team where typically a lot of the people are their own business, examples of this are barbershops, aesthetic spas, not really supposed to do this, but insurance teams and real estate teams, where what we're looking at is the ability to sell to one person with a large vision who then can sell to the masses as well. Once we can get all of the agents and salespeople on, they're now all recurring clients and they're not all under one account, which increases the ability to keep them for a long period of time. Another reason why they're worth a lot is if you can bring a real estate agent, a deal, right? Obviously, they can make between $10,000 and $30,000, which means the ROI is very obvious for them. But they also need consumer-facing buyer and seller recruitment marketing. So there's two sides that they represent. They need the ability to attract both. So that means that there's also multiple revenue streams per client, which increases the retainer for you and the long relationship cycles. Dude, once you prove value to a real estate firm, they have you for life. So that's typically how that works. If you can also help them with recruiting agents, newer firms, especially when there's splits that are occurring, they need to get more recruitment going. But if you can also set up systems that allow them to improve how their backend is operating, that's another thing. It doesn't always have to be lead gen. If you're an agency that's focused on how the fulfillment process is made better, those are also things that they're paying for in 2026. Another thing is Instagram content strategy. If you can help them make good content, that is also a winning play in 2026. Number 6 is franchise owners. Now, what we're looking at with franchises is typically going to be anything outside of restaurants, okay? So we're talking about services, Great Clips, Orange Theory, studio type environments are typically the best, okay? So why do we think that they're the perfect types of clients? They have a retainer multiplier, okay? Meaning if you can get one person bought in, you can get all of their locations. And like we were talking about earlier, if you get them really bought in, now they're also selling to the people that work within those companies as well. Okay, so it doesn't have to just be limited to working with the company. For example, if we sell Instagram automation to a barbershop, we're going to then also get all of their barbers on it as well, because it works as a attraction method, okay? So there's multiple services you can pitch. A lot of them have to do with that local marketing. If you're proficient in that, you can absolutely sell to them in 2026. Franchise owners involves kind of a Dream 100 strategy. You're going to put a ton of value on that front line and really get them bought into why they want to not just work with your strategy, but work with you directly. So it's a lot of this is who I am, this is how I show up type energy, okay? So if you can help them with that, you need to be on the lookout. What we're also doing is looking out for people who have an opening coming up. Is there a new studio opening up in your city? So one of the things that we're doing is we're tracking construction type permitting systems. Like here in Arizona, we use a system called AZBEX, which is the Arizona Business Exchange. And we can basically find where new types of developments are opening. And then we go and look at the plans of what is going to be opening in that area. What that then allows us to do is go and find the franchise owner who might be opening up a new studio or new type of environment in that area. and then we can reach out to them and sell them new marketing as they open that new store. So that allows us then a gateway to go to the other locations that are pre-existing, since we want to help them with the new one. So there's a lot that's powerful with that. If you can also build dashboards, things that allow them to track their franchise at a 30,000-foot view, that's also incredibly powerful. Number 7 is professional service firms. Now, this also can require a little bit of knowledge in their industry that can be much more specific to legal, accounting, consulting, and it may require you to have some legal understanding. What we mean by this is there's disclaimers that are required in these industries, and yes, you will be required to put those disclaimers in the proper locations without being asked. So definitely make sure that you know what you're doing. That being said, the LTV on these customers is very fucking high, which also means that many times they are willing to spend an outrageous amount of money on good marketing operators. Now, one thing to be aware of, if it is a legal team who is a powerhouse within your city, chances are they have already poached a lot of really great talent for their marketing operations. This is just simply true, especially here in Arizona where we have Rafi Law. He has literally got some of the most powerhouse leaders that I know in the marketing industry out here that have already just switched to his team, and he pays them outrageous amounts of money every single year, which means that if you're going to prove yourself to a company like this, it needs to be value and vision driven, and you need to be able to prove that you are the type of killer that they want on their team. Now, again, what they're looking for is typically things that allow them to turn paid attention into, or free attention into paid attention. So this can include things like billboards, campaigns like that, but also can you target people who are currently putting in certain searches or keywords into Google and then pulling them in. Another thing that they are exploring is the ability to target people that are searching on AI and bring them into the ecosystem and make them purchase. So that is something they will be focused on in 2026 and beyond. Finally, number 8. Course creators and info product businesses. My partners who have also done an enormous amount of course creation and info product type businesses have sold over $80 million in the last 6 years on info products. And the only thing that they're really looking for is people who can dominate on the paid ad space. This includes really just 2 fronts. If you can dominate on Facebook and Meta platforms, and if you can dominate on Google, you're somebody that people want to hire. Now, they're typically pulling out, huge amounts of cash to run really fast scaling campaigns. Offers are big, but they're not businesses. Something to remember is that these offers are typically short-lived. They don't really have a lot of longevity, but they can make a lot of money in a short amount of time. So the digital product, margins can be very high, especially when you have aggressive ad spend. What we're seeing is we've got agencies that are spending up to $1 million a week on ads to run really crazy types of products like this. And it's just great because you can fucking scale to the moon, then move on to the next. So this is one of the best niches in 2026 by far. Now, the move in 2026, if you're a local operator, move locally, okay? Work with businesses within your city. Try to find the niches that are working well together. This includes med spas and then franchise owners, stuff like that. And then use content to fill their pipeline with the exact client type. The number one thing I can tell you as an agency owner is you need to be making content. Every week, dedicate a day to making enormous amounts of videos that allow you to retract booked calls to your business, okay? Now, that being said, if you want guidance within your own agency on how to actually scale, or you need products to scale, or you're just new to the agency environment overall, you can book a call with me. The link is in the description, and I would love to chat with you. I've helped over 400 agencies scale in the past 10 years, and I've literally generated hundreds of millions of dollars with agencies across an enormous amount of different industries. We run AGX, which is an agency mutualized marketplace, and that allows people to buy products and services from agencies in a broker and syndicated environment. It's pretty complex, but I won't go into it in this video. But if you are interested in helping get your agency scaled, you can, of course, book a call with me. It's free, and then we can chat through the schematics of what that requires. That being said, have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next one.